And we are back. What's up, everybody? I am DJ Sir Daniel.
What's happening, everybody? My name is Jay Ray, and also known by my government as Johnnie Ray Kornegay the Third.
And we want to welcome you back to another exciting episode of Q Points, your visual podcast and safe space for meaningful discussions around Black music and Black artists. Yo, it's been a wild week. I'm not. I'm gonna have to tell you all the stuff that went down with me over the week
Okay.
offline. But how have you been, J Ray?
Yo, I am good. I'm feeling particularly productive this week, so I'm feeling good. Thanks a lot for asking, man. And I got my Sade box set behind
I
me, so
see.
Sade is looming over Q points tonight, which is cool.
Listen, I see her posted up back there.
Right.
The phenomenon that is Sade. And I want to say what's up to the people in the chat room already. I want to say good evening to Carlton. How you doing, brother? We also got Kyriakos in the building all the way from H-Town, if I'm not mistaken. And let's get it started. So much has happened over the past few days. I, as I don't know, it seems to be like our ongoing thing at the beginning of the show. We have to say rest in peace to some more of our favorite creators and ancestors. Um, Sarah Dash, one third of the groundbreaking, and when I say
Ground
groundbreaking,
baby, listen.
groundbreaking trio LaBelle. Well, let's start off. First, she was a Bluebell with Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells.
Right. 1962.
And then they transformed into LaBelle
Bell.
when they became a trio after
Mm-hmm.
Cindy Birdsong left for the Supremes. And listen, without LaBelle, Lady Gaga wouldn't have the swag that she has. There is, I mean, they coined um, glam rock and glam
Absolutely.
funk and soul. So just the looks and the sound alone, and Sarah Dash was definitely a part of that recipe.
Absolutely. So after Miss Dash passed away, I went back and I revisited one. There's a live performance on YouTube. I saw it a while ago, and I'm gonna put the link in the chat actually so that everybody can join. And while I'm telling the story, hey R. Steve and hey Yvette, thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you. Drop your stuff in the chat as well. So thank y'all so much. But I went back and I revisited this performance and Sir Daniel. These
Listen,
women. So there, first of all, there's a performance of System. It's the second song of the night. They did it on Don Kirshner's rock show, which there's a lot of performances from that particular show. That show ran in like the 70s and the 80s, early 80s. And LaBelle literally brought these white people was passing out. First of all, there was a moment where I thought that Sarah and Nona and Patty were just gonna fall out because they were singing from like their toes all the way up
super hard.
super hard and just putting their all into it. And so and Sarah Dash was just on stage with Patti LaBelle days
Yeah.
before she passed away.
She just had a birthday. She just had a birthday, late September. And yeah, unfortunately, that's just how quickly
Mm-hmm.
life can change. And so ashe to Sarah Dash. She is now our ancestor,
Mm-hmm.
and we appreciate you and all that you added to the culture. We also had to say goodbye to another pioneer, this time a pioneer of film,
Yes.
Melvin Van Peebles.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, I became familiar with Melvin Van Peebles through his son,
Of course.
Mario Van
Mm-hmm.
Peebles, from growing up and watching him on Sunny Spoon,
Yeah.
his TV show on NBC, and of course, his various appearances in a lot of '80s breakdance movies and
Yeah.
whatnot. But yeah, as I grew and found out more about Melvin Van Peebles, like I found out that there wasn't such a thing as blaxploitation.
Mm-hmm.
Melvin Van Peebles created a lane, and Black Hollywood, I mean, not Black Hollywood, Hollywood
Hollywood.
co-opted it and created this thing called blaxploitation films.
Yeah, man. Melvin Van Peebles was. I also became familiar with Melvin through Mario.
Mhm.
Um, and I actually revisited for the first time Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song after watching Panther, because that was when
Yeah,
I became conscious of like Melvin Van Peebles and his work. And so I went back in time and recognized. So this man directed, wrote, composed. So if you go and pull the soundtrack for Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, it's written like an opera, and the opera was composed by Melvin Van Peebles. So not only was he writing and directing, oftentimes in his films he was composing as well. So very much in the lane of like a John Carpenter, who is kind of like doing all the things on the film. Editing, he edited,
yeah.
he directed, wrote, edited, and did the score for Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song. Just a phenomenal inspiration, and truly a legend for all the right reasons.
Absolutely. And so I told I was speaking to a friend this week when the news broke. Well, it was yesterday when the news broke about Mr. Van Peebles. It was like, thank God he was a filmmaker,
Mm-hmm.
because filmmakers leave behind like an actual living, breathing
Mm-hmm.
testimony of their work. Like
Mm-hmm.
film is an entity onto itself. It's breathing. You can't. It's there, and it speaks volumes of who he was as a director. And yes, we are definitely going to miss him, but we are so grateful for the
Yes.
path that he laid out for other filmmakers, because we wouldn't have Ava DuVernay,
Mm-hmm.
any of the kids that are doing their thing, as far as film is concerned
Yep.
today. So our hats off to Mr. Melvin Van Peebles and Sarah Dash, new ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of film and music, real quick, did you catch the Emmys?
I did catch the Emmys. I watched the whole Emmys, which is rare.
Which is rare for you.
Mm-hmm.
But so you caught the beginning. You caught the tribute
The
to Biz
tribute to
Markie.
Biz Markie, which I thought was like, what? Amazing. So yeah.
I know, right? It was like, whoa, they did this on the Emmys.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, it got real black real quick,
Yep.
a couple times on this
It
show,
did.
but it was a good effort, a good shot to them all. Hey, what's up, Yvette? Yes, thank you. I love my Misfits t-shirts. You know what's up. Yvette knows what's up with them. The
Yes.
Misfits, their songs are better.
We are the
So,
Misfits. Our songs are better.
and and shout out to Trey Dixon. Thank you so much for joining us this evening as well. So, J Ray, let's get into it. We're doing like a weekly roundup of some stories that we've heard this weekend. Really struck us. You sent me this video
Yep.
of Fonte
Yes.
Coleman.
Yep.
And he went on social media. He did a couple posts
Yep.
asking people not to listen, not to stream, not to purchase
No.
the represses of Little Brother's The Minstrel Show
Mm-hmm.
or The Listening.
Yep.
And which is a big deal because, like so many artists, a lot of these classic albums are now being re-released. And so here we go. And so I'll let you talk about Mr. Fonte and what's behind this campaign of no Little Brothers listening and buying of these albums.
Here's the deal, man. So I feel like I gotta say this in tribute to Fonte. New Tigolo, new Tigolo, new Tigolo. So I'm gonna just do that.
You had to do it.
I had to do it.
I don't blame you.
If Fonte sees this, I'm sure he'll smile. So Little Brother, iconic early 2000s rap group. The Listening was their first official release, and it was released on ABB Records. And their second album, The Minstrel Show, was actually released through Atlantic Records, but Fonte clarified some things. So here is why they are saying do not support these presses, don't stream these records. Actually, the streaming of the minstrel show is fine. The streaming of the listening is not. I'll explain why in a second. So, Fonte and rapper Big Pooh basically took to social media to say, look, listen, the owner of this record label we have not seen a statement from them since 2004. So they do not, that long. So they do not deserve any money from you because they have not done right by me, by him and Big Pooh. And so they're like, listen, don't buy these. And Fonte was really clear. He was like, I ain't got no beef with Fat Beats because Fat Beats is going to be distributing this. I don't have beef with Fat Beats. I don't have beef with Atlantic for what they did with the minstrel show. He was like, I don't have beef with them. They were fine with us. The problem was when they signed their deal with Atlantic, ABB got to keep the rights for the vinyl. So he said, I don't got no beef with Atlantic. I don't got no beef with Fat Beats. Who I do have beef with is ABB. So fans, do not stream these records. If you want to support things, support everything else. Support the Chitlin Circuit, support Left Back, support the Get Back, support, was it Hell Hath No Fury? All them other joints, they have rights to. So they said support everything else, but do not support the minstrel show repressing as well as the listening repressing until ABB does right by the group. And I am a Little Brother fan. Fonte is one of, just watching what his career has done, you know, really truly being a pioneer and one of the only rappers, male rappers, that's like a rapper singer. Like he's truly a rapper and a singer. Yeah. And I fully support what him and Pooh are saying. And I'm glad he was like, listen, this is real. We've been trying to handle this for years behind the scenes, but here we are. So here we are.
I just always find it so interesting that labels, especially, okay, I could see how a major, you know, like the big three, how somebody could, you know, a little rap group like Little Brother can kind of fly under the radar and maybe invoice isn't turned in on time. But when, you know, you got a smaller imprint, which they probably had a relationship with.
They did.
Do something quite blatant, you know what I'm saying? Right. And not fulfill their end of the bargain. But listen, Q-Tip said it back in 1991 and it still rings true to this day.
What do you say,
record company people are what?
Shady.
Matter of fact, if you're in the chat right now, somebody dropped the number of that rule. We want to see who the real
I'm dying.
Who the real hip hop heads?
Drop it in there.
Drop that number. Go ahead.
So here, like, it was crazy. So Fonte, so you could actually go to Fonte's Instagram because he spent 8 minutes and he was like really frustrated. He was like, I did not want to start my day like this. I actually got stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? There you go. Trey, thank you. Kyriakos, thank you. So he spent 8 minutes explaining the fact that, he saw the owner of the label a couple of years ago. And the owner of the label was like, I'm going to make this right. Fonte, I'm going to make this right.
You know how when somebody owes you money, be like, look, I got to see you. I got something for you.
I got something for you.
I'm gonna get with you. I got you. When somebody know they owe you money, I got you. But it's so good to see you. But I'm gonna get with you.
But he did literally that. So Fonte was like, literally, we're gonna make this right. How's your wife and kids? Like, they fine. And he said they'd be better. You know what I'm saying? They'd be better.
Right. Run me my money. Run me. That just has to be that needs to be a t-shirt. A t-shirt that a lot of people from that work in the record industry need to have. It's like, run me my money.
Run me my money.
So you mentioned Fonte being one of the very few male rappers / singers. When it comes to the women, though, one stands out among the rest, and that is Lauryn Hill. And I've been
Miss
dying to
Hill, Miss Lauren
excuse me.
Hill.
Sorry, Miss Hill. Sorry about that. Miss Lauryn Hill stands out above the rest, and I've been dying to talk to you about this all week. Of course, earlier this week, it was announced out of the blue that the Fugees are reuniting for a tour to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the score, which, listen, hands down, a groundbreaking, phenomenal. Um, okay, Keys, a groundbreaking, phenomenal album that really changed their lives and
Yes.
changed the history of rap music. So let's get into it. You know, the question of the week was, are you excited about this tour?
Oh, we got some. We gonna come back. We gonna play some
Okay.
responses, and then we gonna come back and we gonna talk about it. So here we go.
Yes.
What up, y'all? This is Darnell Miller, singer-songwriter, musician. Am I excited for the Fugees tour? I'm excited. I'm curious. I really am curious to see what that show will look like. You know, what that band will consist of, what the energy between all three of them will be. Will it be? Will you be able to sense, you know, so like something that's cohesive, or will it be kind of disjointed, like that last attempt was? If they can get back together, anybody can get back together. I'm really excited and looking forward to that because I know if Miss Hill is involved, there's going to be some other things attached to it concerning the community and the culture. So yeah, I'm excited and curious. All right, y'all. Peace.
What's up, DJ Sir Daniel and the Q Points family? This is your girl, DJ Candy. And I am kind of like, on the 50-50 fence with the Fugees reunion tour. I am definitely a fan of the Fugees as well as Miss Lauryn Hill. But as we all know, they have had a tumultuous and dysfunctional relationship. So I am just kind of waiting to see, one, if it starts, and two, if it lasts. I hope that it does. I wish them much success, but I'm just kind of waiting to see. So I'll be tuned in and definitely looking for that Atlanta date if they make it.
Whew. So, once again, yes, Carlton, it's funny how
How
money
much
changed
change
the
the
situation.
situation?
The question of the week again is, are you excited for the Fugees reunion tour? You can still submit your video responses. We want to hear from you directly, and we want to see your smiling faces and hear your voices. You can send that response to qpnt.net/fan mail
Mhm.
and let the camera roll, and it uploads directly to us so we can get your response. So, J Ray, how you feeling about this? We heard from DJ Candy. We heard from Darnell Miller. What does Johnnie Ray Kornegay have to say about the situation?
Well, listen, they made it onto the stage last night.
Give it up. They made it to the stage last night. However,
However, and
comma,
Yvette just said it best. I'm excited but pensive. I am. This would be so important for their legacy
mhm.
because the score, we're about to talk about the score in a minute. That was such an important record. And to put this in perspective, y'all, that was their last album. That's nuts. That is
As a
nuts.
group,
As a group,
yes,
it wasn't supposed to be like that. So
they
it
only have two
they
albums
only
when you
have
think about it,
two albums, Blended on Reality and The Score. That's
and that
it.
and that came out in what, 94 or
That came out in
93?
93, and then The Score came out in 96.
96.
So
Think about it.
I I'm like, okay, sure. Let's see how this goes. I am cautiously, I'm not even optimistic. I'm just like, we'll wait and see. I'm where DJ Candy was. I'm like, we'll wait and see.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You know, I think really a lot of the apprehension people are feeling stems from the solo career that Miss Hill has had,
Yes.
and the reputation that she has built as a solo artist. when it comes to her performances and her live performances. And it's just become like a thing of folklore. Lauryn Hill equals lateness. You know, she's a meme all to herself.
She is.
Lateness, delays, erratic behavior, all of that stuff have been associated with Lauryn Hill. And it's sad because you don't want to do that because she's a woman, and women are a lot of times painted in that light, that they're erratic, that they can't be depended on. But I've sat in a concert waiting a good 2 to 3 hours for her to show up. And so it's kind of like we all have shell shock. We all have PTSD when it comes to Lauryn Hill. It's like, raise your hands in the chat if you've been victimized by Lauryn Hill's lateness. Like I get it. You like, people, you spent money and you go there, you're excited. Not only has she arrived late, then on top of that, of course, we know because of copyright issues and dealings with the actual label, like her albums, that you can't, if you hear the song, it's not going to be what you heard on the album.
Right.
It's going to be a sped up version. It's going to be,
something else,
a reconsider, a mashup or something else, right? So that's where I really do believe that's where all the apprehension comes from. And then, it's just wild. And then on top of that, let's talk ticket prices. Have y'all seen the ticket prices? Can you afford $500 for, I believe it's for a seat in the back? I know I can't. And and we're supposed to be the ones with disposable income.
Yeah, if I could count on a good show, and possibly a show that will never happen again, because the fact that we're getting this show, the fact that they got on stage together last night, is a feat in itself, because Pras is going on record as saying, I will never work with Lauryn Hill, Miss Lauryn Hill, again. I will not do that. So the fact that these folks can walk up onto the stage and do something is like a step in the right direction. But I'm afraid to spend, because apparently getting to the floor is like $1,000, and you got to pay like $500 to get in the back. If I'm paying that kind of money, I need to know that you are going to body this performance, that it is going to be worth my time and my money. And I, even based on last night, so OK Player, I wish I had the link, I didn't pull the link. OK Player reported on last night, they started at 10. The show was supposed to start at 7 with the DJ. They didn't go on, and the DJ
wait on a school night.
On a school night. So they know that their fan base is like, I got to go to work tomorrow and I got to go to school. They was late the first night. And read what OK Player reported. Read what they reported about the show. If they get this right, though, Sir Daniel, if they can last the whole tour, one, they're going to make a lot of money. And I will be so proud of them that they will have actually capitalized on their legacy. I'll be good about that. And that, I can't remember who said it in the chat, but somebody said, if they can get back together, it's possible for anybody.
Yeah. Like we could see, we could see like a BBD, New Edition, Bobby Brown reunion all together, all of them, all the moving parts, including Johnnie Gill.
Yes.
But let's do something interesting. Let's go back in time real quick. And yes, oh hey, what's up, Kipper? Kipper joined the chat.
Yep.
And
Kipper, that ain't going down, bro. I talked about that last night. That ain't happening.
Listen,
Kipper mentioned,
really
hopefully this will inspire Jody Watley, Howard Hewitt, and Jeffrey Daniel.
No. Jody Watley has said on that. That is Jody Watley said, period, and that's on Mary Had a Little Lamb. It's not happening. You can forget that. And I believe her.
Yeah.
But Yeah, so and just like
For saying, let a black man
y'all are,
dream.
y'all are killing me in these comments, and I'm so happy to see all of you. Matthew, I see you too. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, there's so much backstory. And yes, Trey, there's rumors about Clef and L
Yes.
Boogie's rumored relationship. So I want to go back in time, J Ray, and ask you, what do you recall about life when the score dropped? Like, paint us a little picture. What's up, Michelle? Black
Michelle
girls
up,
rock.
real chicks rock up in the
Real
spot.
real chicks rock up in the spot. Yes, ma'am.
Come
How you doing,
through.
Michelle?
Okay. This actually, okay, is taking me back. So,
Yeah.
1996, I specifically remember when I went to buy the score. I remember what was happening. So I'm going to tell you what exactly how this went down. So leading up to it, of course, Fuji La had come
First
out.
single. Yep, first single.
And coming off of, so to paint the picture, and I think we talked about Blended on Reality on this show before, but Blended on Reality, the album itself wasn't that great, right? So there was like glimmers of something. But
There were no hits.
there were no hits. But then you got the remix of Vocab that was like, oh, that's interesting and different and new, and I like it. Then of course they went on, the album was done. Lauren then starts to do all these cameos, and she's like guesting and killing her
Big
rhymes.
Cat,
Like
Big Cat,
the ladies just
killed it.
killing it. So when Fuji La drops, whole other energy, because you got the Tina Marie sample, whatever. So the album drops. I'm in college, and I went to buy two records that day. I went to buy The Score, and I went to buy Total's debut album. I bought them both on the exact same day. And so I remember just being in the car listening to The Score like, Jesus. It was truly like listening to, it was one of those records that changed the way I heard hip hop. Like the whole energy was different based on, because at that moment in hip hop, we had all gone to the West Coast. So everything
Yes.
was like a G funk in that whole vein. And this was not that. This had Haiti. This had island rhythms, because you have Salam Remy and like all of that
Yes.
energy was on this. And it was what hip hop needed at that moment. And Lauren just shined.
Absolutely. And so, yes, let's go back to 1996. I recall plainly, I can't remember where I got it, but I remember purchasing the tape and getting in at that time, I had this 92 Mercury Sable with a with a cassette player, really weak speakers in the front, but hey, it was mine, and I slid that tape in there, and I remember listening to the what. Okay, what I remember most is the sequencing. How
Yes.
it was a movie. It
It
was
was a
definitely a
movie.
movie. It was a movie on wax, and then the song that grabbed me was "Ready or Not," because I remember that Enya song, and it had just blew my mind that somebody thought to use Enya in a rap record, and it was dark, it was melodic, and that just took me over. And and then when we got to hear Rod Digger for the very first time
Yes. What was,
we make moves in stagecoaches.
yes. Oh, Desperados.
Desperados.
Yes.
Yes. And hearing them rhyme together, it was just awesome. It was just an awesome moment in hip hop. And because to your point, we were all on the West Coast. It was the G Funk era. We were coming off of the aesthetically, we had Diggable Planets.
Yep.
who comprised of two men and one woman.
Mm-hmm.
So we had that aesthetic of a rap group, and we were coming off of their rise and success.
Mm-hmm.
And because the second album didn't do as well as their first one.
Mm-hmm.
And so here comes the Fugees, and we're thinking, okay, what's the Fugees gonna do?
Yep.
And Lauryn Hill let her singing abilities shine on the album,
Yep.
which completely put the Fugees in a different category
Yes.
than Diggable Planet. So then all comparisons were done after that.
Yep.
And I just remember, this is old Atlanta, so I remember going up, being at Club Kaya, and hearing them drop Fuji La for the first time, and everybody singing to the top of their lungs, along with that Tina Marie sample. And it was a time. That album, and I remember that Rollout, and we're going to talk about album rollouts in a little bit. That Rollout caused such a frenzy.
Yeah.
I remember seeing there was like a buzz in the streets. Everything was about the Fugees, and Goody Mob had dropped by this time. So this was the Smoke and Grooves tour era.
Yes.
So they created that. Then you saw these package tours begin to be created for hip hop, which had not been done before in the past a lot. Mm-hmm. So we had, that changed. Their album kind of changed the course of how tours were created for hip hop artists as well. So it was just, I just remember, man, what a time. I kind of wish I could go back in the time machine and relive that whole era, and that just the feeling of it all over again.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, but that was then, and this is now, people, a lot of money has been made.
Lots.
People have become their own superstars, and it's a tale as old as time when it comes to, it's rock and roll. And when it comes to groups, there's always going to be some type of conflict because of the family dynamic. And if you add money and ego in the mix, it's gonna be volatile.
Yep. And to the point, I know people have mentioned in relationship and all of this stuff, and you have this kind of what we've heard about, this kind of Svengali figure in Wyclef to a Lauryn Hill, and the need for Lauryn to kind of become her own artist. All of that stuff is astute. But so DJ Sir Daniel, y'all. Oh, y'all are so live in the chat. Thank y'all so much for
thank you, Keisha
Kennedy. Thank you, Keisha. Thank you so much for being here. And yes, you're right, Yvette. So Lauryn had done Sister Act 2. And Keys, I'm gonna get you, Keys. We're making Keys feel young.
He's just making fun of us for being old heads, because he was probably in kindergarten when the album came out. Yeah.
So Sir Daniel said something that was really funny to me. So Sir Daniel, you had a Mercury Sable. When the score came out, I had a 1985 Mercury Topaz. That's what I drove to pick up the score in. So me and Sir Daniel, we've been brothers forever. We ain't even know.
We're going like this, yes. I mean, so the Topaz was a two-door, wasn't it?
It was. I had the 4-door one. It was teeny.
Okay.
It had all these rust stains on it. It was a whole thing. But that was my car, and it had the little cassette in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Listen, and gas was 89 cents a gallon back then.
Baby. Can we
in my day?
And back in my day, can we fill up on $10 again? Can we do that?
Ooh, man, $10 in the tank, the score and the tape deck. I mean, what was life? What was life? So we alluded to album rollouts earlier. And so we thought it would be a good chance to talk about some of the wild and craziest stunts in history when it comes to album rollouts. And when I say album rollouts, I mean the promotion, the propaganda that the record label and their promotions companies use to help promote the piece of work before it actually even comes out.
Yes,
I could tell y'all. So. Did I tell you this one time, J. Ray? I was part of a street team.
Oh, I did not know that. Which one?
There was a guy that was working promotions here at Hot 97 in Atlanta. His name was Scorpio, and Scorpio was the man. So, and I wanted to be put on so bad. I was like, I need to get in radio somehow by the hook or the crook. And so I'm going to join Scorpio's street team. And so and that was late 90s, early 2000s. So it was like 98, 99. Sniping was the thing. Do you all know what snipes are? So sniping, if you remember, snipes were the cardboard posters of the album covers,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't know if you remember when Charlie Baltimore came out, there were a bunch of signs that all it said was "Who's Charlie?"
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Those were snipes. So being on Scorpio's street team, sniping was a big deal. That was like how you got the word out. So I would get tons of these packages full of these snipes, and it was up to me to go out in the dead of night, go on the expressways. I literally pulled over on the side of I-20 and was like going to the posts that lead up to the ramp, the off ramps, and I would be stapling these signs at night of like the Ghetto Twins,
Right.
Master P. Oh yeah, we had a Priority Music account at that time, so it was a lot of Master P, Ghetto Twins, a lot of whoever was on Priority at the time.
Yeah.
So mind you, while this was happening, the city of Atlanta was cracking down on these signs because it was like a litter nuisance to the city. And like I legit thought I was going to get arrested, but I didn't care. I wanted to get into the music game real bad. But that was something that was done back in the day to help promote albums.
Yes.
You know, you had to be seen. The project had to be seen everywhere. If you were walking on the streets, whenever you turn on your television, whenever you turn on the radio, if an album was coming out, the Rollout made sure that you knew what you were going to expect, and it was supposed to build up anticipation for the project.
Right. And you know what's so interesting? So one of the reasons why it was important, because we've been in a moment now where we've had 3 album rollouts back to back that we've been paying attention to. So of course we had Kanye and we had Drake running side by side, but probably the biggest of the 3 ended up being Lil Nas X. And
He won
the rollout game.
He won. Yeah.
And what was nuts though, and I didn't understand, because it was like people like, he just wants attention, this is crazy. And I'm like, have y'all not experienced album rollouts before? I have. We're about to talk about, there's one in this 2 that we're about to talk about that was the most insane thing that could have been done. Like, it was insane.
But when you think about it, when you hear it, it matches the magnitude of that artist.
Absolutely.
But the first one we're going to talk about is kind of the antithesis of an album rollout, because there was no rollout.
There was no rollout.
It was a digital drop in the middle of the night, and of course we're talking about the 2013 release of Beyonce's self-titled. I think we have become so used to Beyonce doing press, millions of photo shoots, all of that, and all this glamorous stuff. In the middle of the night, she dropped the album digitally with a very plain cover with just her name on it. And that was it. But the impact was so ridiculous. Like, people thought they could, like, to this day now, there's no more Super Tuesday.
Right.
Which is when albums were released. People think now, I'm going to release my album at midnight. Now, that is literally the whole method of dropping albums now, is dropping albums at midnight.
Absolutely. She literally changed everything. So the other big piece to this that really changed the game was she had a music video for every song.
Yeah.
And so to think about this, Beyonce was a huge star by 2013. She wasn't as big as she is now, but she was big then. And the fact that she was able to record all of these music videos and drop an album that no one knew was coming and nobody said anything at all shows the power of Beyonce and her team, number one, but also showed us that you could do something different and try something different, because you're absolutely right. It came out of nowhere. The next day, folks was clamoring. I literally woke up because I came to the Beyonce train late. I've talked about that on other songs. On other shows. And I'm like, well, baby, I gotta see these videos, child. Where I get to see these videos and stuff. Like I went, and it turned into my favorite Beyonce record. It's actually the Beyonce record I still most enjoy. But that was the rollout. It was like, I'm gonna just drop it.
And I'm drop it. I'm gonna, and the videos, like you said, are going to accompany it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but to also to your point again, she changed the way people do things
Yep.
in the industry. She changed the whole industry chatter.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody now is trying to be tight-lipped about their projects until it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
The long-lasting effect of Beyonce.
Yep.
So hats off to her. That was definitely one of the more astounding album rollouts ever. But this next one,
Nuts.
this next one takes the cake. We're back in the 90s. The year is 1995.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Jackson is releasing the History album set.
Yep.
Which is History was a greatest hits, right?
It was the first disc 1 was new and disc 2 was the greatest hits.
Greatest hits. And in order to announce that History was on its way, Sony and that whole machine, the Michael Jackson machine, had built a statue.
Statues
that floated down the Thames River of Michael Jackson in his military jacket with the epaulets and the shades. And it was like, can you imagine not knowing what's going on, and all of a sudden you see a Godzilla-sized statue of Michael Jackson floating down the river towards you? What are you thinking? I can imagine who was near the Thames River at the time, what their thoughts were when they saw that coming to them.
Listen, so this was nuts, y'all. They actually had these statues in Carlton, thank you so much. Disc 1 was the greatest hits, disc 2 were the new stuff. Thank you, Carlton. These statues were in different places, countries around the world. I think there were like 5 of them. Statues, y'all, to announce this. And then he did this nutso commercial. You can still see it on YouTube. Go watch it if you've never seen. You see people from cultures around the world literally crying and falling out and fainting. Yes. And you have Michael walking with an army and to announce the statue. And they unveil this in a thing. It's crazy. And to put this in perspective, and this is an interesting tidbit that I think we forget. So Scream was on the History Project. That was the lead single with Scream. Scream never actually hit number 1. It's the most expensive video ever made, although the director keeps saying, no, that's not true. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most expensive video ever made. That song actually never hit the top of the pop charts. I think number 5 was as high as it got. So Michael was this powerful to have a song that didn't even go all the way. Statues, y'all. Statues.
It was like, if you've ever seen the movie Signs, and remember in Signs, the movie with the M. Night Shyamalan movie about the UFO, the alien invasion, and how in each country there was just a UFO hovering over the country. Quiet, nothing going on. That's what it felt like to see these statues of Michael Jackson. They just popped up, and they were there. It was just, Michael Jackson was omnipresent. And it also brings up this thing, J. Ray, I don't know if you've seen this, but I don't know why people want to make this a thing. But there's been this conversation going around on social media about questioning if Drake is as big or has surpassed Michael Jackson's career.
This is a dumb conversation. I'm sorry. I don't normally say stuff like that, and I really did just say that on Q Points, but this is a dumb conversation. And I think Drake would probably agree.
I would hope so.
What's the what are we saying? What are we saying? What are we saying, people?
Y'all are just talking to be talking now.
Y'all just talking
just
to
making
talking.
Up stuff now.
Just talking. We're talking
J. Ray said people were falling out.
Fainting.
Literally just to touch just to touch the hem of Michael's high water pants and white socks. People were just trying to touch him. They would touch him and boom, fall out.
Delivered.
It was crazy. There was nothing. There will never be anything close to that.
Never.
There are artists that come really close,
Yep.
but never will touch that. It was a once in a lifetime thing.
Never.
Once in a lifetime.
Yeah, I don't get the conversation, y'all, about. Listen, and I am ecstatic for the success that Drake has had in Drake's career, but we have to put all of this in perspective. And this is what's going to be hard forever, actually.
Yeah.
In our current model, listen, folks had to get in their Mercury Sables and their Mercury Topazes and go to the Sam Goody.
Thank you.
To take your $25, no, because the tape was probably like 10. Like both of them tapes was probably 10. So it's probably like, yeah, $25. I had to take my $25 with my taxes. And I had to hand it to somebody and I had to walk out with it. I had to walk out with a product and then get in the car and then listen to it. And don't let me need a CD later. You know what I'm saying? So then I got to go back to the Sam Goody and get a CD when I got the CD money. You know what I'm saying?
Because you had the cassette for the car, the CD for the house.
Exactly. So it's a different time. Drake, right. Keys got it exactly right. Drake, I'm excited for his success, and I'm sure Drake is excited for his success. But Michael Jackson was Thriller. Let's just say Thriller. There was nothing bigger. Is Thriller still? Thriller is probably still the biggest record
it's still
forever.
Selling.
I don't know where it is. Carlton, if you know, let us know.
Because Halloween we're about to come up on Halloween. I guarantee you Thriller is going to end up on the charts again just because it's Halloween.
Just because.
So yeah, it's not going anywhere. Matter of fact, let's end it right there. Michael Jackson, done. There's nothing left to say. Nothing left to say.
So I got a question, Sir Daniel.
Yes.
You be listening to stuff. What's on your what's your thing, Sir Daniel? What's your earworm? What is Sir Daniel's earworm this week?
It is funny you should say that, and it's funny that you will call it an earworm because that's exactly what it is. A very close friend of mine, Anthony, and I were chatting, and he just out of the blue brought up this song that was featured in the FX Network TV show Pose. Because one thing about Pose had a fantastic ability to put the right songs for the right sequences and the right scenes.
Shout out to Kipper Jones, by the way, too, because was it Baby or I Want to Be Down? I think it was I Want to Be Down made it into like Pose too. So
absolutely. You got lunch on you, Kipper, next time we see you. So yeah. So and he just brought it out of the blue. He was like, "Ooh, Sir Daniel, have you do you remember Kate Bush running up the hill?" And I was like, "What?" And then he just started singing, "I would run up the hill," and I was like, I can't remember that. I know that was part of the show, but he was like, I said, "What sequence was it from? Help me remember what sequence it was from." And so he couldn't tell me. So the next thing you know, I looked up the video on YouTube, and the next thing you know, I could not get this song out of my head. Y'all, I had to go and purchase it. Can you see this? I had to go. You can't see it, but I had to go and purchase it just off the strength of my friend mentioning and singing, just humming a few seconds of the song "Running Up the Hill" by Kate Bush, and Kate Bush got a sale off of me strictly off the strength of Plain Mama mentioning that particular sequence from the show Pose. But when I tell you I love that song, I love an 80s synthesized track with very, she's from the tribe of like a Stevie Nicks where they're very very airy and flowy with their lyrics, and she's singing in this very in this kind of weird voice, but dope lyrics, love it. So that is my earworm of the week. Kate Bush, Running Up the Hill, A Deal with God, and I love that song.
Dope. Thank y'all so much. Look at y'all just in the chat doing the thing.
Litty.
And Carlton made a quick point. He said, listen, child, they're trying to make the Eagles' greatest hits the biggest album. Yeah, I did think that's right. That's why I was asking that question, because I did hear that. But yes, Thriller's still the biggest. So yes, it's always a toss up between like the Eagles' greatest hits and like Thriller. Like they're running neck and neck. Yes. So y'all are just so dope.
Y'all are so dope, and you all have been really dope for going to Podchaser.
Yes,
and leaving us some comments, leaving us a review on Podchaser. Thank you to everyone who has done it. If you have not done it yet, all you need to do is go to Podchaser and look up Q Points. If I know J Ray, he's about
I'm looking it up. I'm about to drop the link in the chat.
A link in the chats right now. So it's funny you say that. Another earworm, Kyriakis said, I can't tell you an Eagles song if you pay me to know. But you say that, Kyriakis.
Really?
But you
Hotel
know,
California?
But wait a minute, Kyriakis, I guarantee you know an Eagles song, but you just didn't know they sang it first. Because Brownstone did a fabulous remake of I Can't Tell You Why.
They did, yes.
By the Eagles, or Brownstone, or as we like to call them, the what is her name? Gosh, I can't think of her name right now. The lead singer of Brownstone.
Nikki Gilbert?
The Nikki Gilbert Mass Choir, because they sound, the three of them sounded like a whole choir. And that I got that from Kyriakos. He likes to call them that. But yes, the Nikki Gilbert Mass Choir, they did an awesome remake of I Can't Tell You Why, and that is a really great Eagles song. Yes. See? Not the Doobie Brothers, but the Eagles. Yep. But yes, please go to Podchaser, go over there and leave us a comment. Follow us. Stop it. Leave us a comment on on Podchaser, and please review the show.
Yes.
Tell your friends about it. We've grown because of you. Yes. You've been telling everybody about us, and we appreciate it. Listen, Bow-Legged Lou popped up last week, and that's only because somebody told him about it. So the same power, you have the same power to tell your friends, and we appreciate you for doing that.
Awesome. And listen, so check us out, qpoints.com. You can become a Q Points insider. Please do. In fact, if you heard some sounds coming in for a second there, I needed to check really quick just to make sure that the stream was on the website, and it was, and it looked beautiful. So for those folks who don't love, if you're on Facebook now, you're like, I don't love Facebook, you can head on over to qpoints.com and watch the show. You can't chat like you are in the chat right now, but you can watch us. So go to qpoints.com, become an insider, sign up for the mailing list, follow us on Instagram, Q Points, Twitter, and Facebook at Q Show. And and also answer the question of the week. I'm gonna put it back in the chat. Are you excited for the Fugees reunion tour? And go ahead, Sir Daniel.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, are you ready for the Fuji La?
Are you ready for the Fuji La? Let us know. And if you go, we want to hear your feedback. So, but please tell your friends. If you got music heads and they into music, let them know about Q Points. Yeah.
Absolutely. So listen, it's been a great show tonight. Thank you so much for joining in. But kids, what do I always say? In this life, you can either pick up the needle or you can let the music play. The choice is yours. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Q Points. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
And I'm J Ray. Peace.
Peace, and we'll see you next week.